Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now before we do get into today's first story, there is some trigger warnings on it of homophobia, accusations of sexual harassment and manipulation as well, so if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. Now our first story comes from Fit Literature 6705 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit. And it says, Am I the Arsehole Here for not wanting to be tattooed by my sister-in-law? I will say absolutely not immediately, but let's get into it first, Mark. Don't jump the gun here. Recently, I, 22 female, went to my girlfriend's 21 female family Christmas party. I've known the family for a while and we've all gotten along pretty well. But normally we don't participate in Secret Santa. This year we decided we would. For brevity's sake, I'll be referring to my girlfriend's family as in-laws, even though we aren't married. My sister-in-law joined the family not too long ago after knowing my girlfriend's brother for a couple of months and marrying him. I don't know her very well, but overall, we've gotten along when I've been around her. She happened to get me for Secret Santa, and my gift was a coupon of sorts for $100 off a tattoo by her. My girlfriend and I are both pretty heavily tatted, but truthfully, I'm very picky about my tattoos. As an artist myself, I heavily value a tattoo artist who will hand create my concepts for me. I've been going to the same tattoo artist since I started getting tattoos, and I love her work, and being able to see her improvement on my skin. I have nearly 2 sleeves done by her. On the surface, the gift was thoughtful. I thanked her for it, and the night went on without problem. When I got home, I decided to scroll her tattoo Instagram. The simple truth is, I'm not a fan of her work. Generally, her art is picked off of Pinterest and traced, something I intentionally avoid. My girlfriend also looked through her art, but came to the same conclusion as me. Neither of us really want a tattoo done by her. I wasn't going to bring this up, but when having lunch with her family a few days ago, she brought up when she could fit me into her schedule. I'm terrible at breaking bad news to people. Generally, I'm a people pleaser to a fault. I let her know that I wasn't sure if I'd be getting a tattoo done by her. I said that her work was good, it just wasn't my preference. I thought that was that. She walked away from the conversation and I continued talking to my in-laws, but shortly after her husband came out absolutely fuming. He started calling me selfish, spoiled, and ungrateful for not accepting her gift in front of the family. My girlfriend argued with him in my defense, even saying the gift was shitty, and if she wanted to gift me a tattoo, she should have just given me the money and let me decide who I wanted to do it. We ended up leaving briefly after. But the next morning I get a text from my mother-in-law telling me that we're uninvited to their New Year's party. I'm honestly still in shock about the whole situation. I thought it wouldn't be a big deal, but my sister-in-law has made a point to block me on almost every social media. My girlfriend is angry on my behalf, but I can't help but feel guilty for not accepting the gift. Even still, I don't want a tattoo by her. Am I the arsehole here? So she gives you a gift that puts you in an impossible position. Let's face it, it wasn't really a gift. It was business. I bet you that $100 off a tattoo had a minimum spend on it as well. But the fact is, she was presumptuous enough to bring this up at the family lunch, and she was saying about how she could fit you into her schedule. I mean, come on, man. Again, she put you into another impossible position where you had to say, I'm sorry. And you wasn't rude about it. You just said her art wasn't your preference. You said her work was good, just not your preference, which is an absolutely fine thing to say, especially for something that's going to be permanently on your body. The whole situation is just bonkers, but commenter said, I shall gift you my time. This is the ultimate narcissist gift, regardless of industry. You are not the arsehole. Another commenter says, not the arsehole. First off, $100 off a tattoo is not a gift. It is a discount, for fuck's sake. That benefits sister-in-law. Second, it is pretty presumptuous to try and force her work on you. Do not feel guilty. Girlfriend may want to get in therapy to handle the emotions and learn how to set boundaries with her arsehole family. Very insulting that her own mother took sister-in-law's side. Commodore says, maybe regift the coupon to mother-in-law's and she can get tattooed by her. It's a permanent design on your body. Of course you have the right to be choosy. Not the arsehole. Commodore says not the arsehole. Tattoos are personal and many people have preferred styles. You don't want just anyone permanently inking your body. She was just avoiding shelling out money for your gift and the family is overreacting. The OP came back into the post to update and said, so it's been a second since the first happened and there's been quite a few updates to cover since New Year's Day. My girlfriend and I enjoyed our holidays and once things settled down a bit, we visited mother-in-law personally. We had a discussion, explained our side of the story beyond what sister-in-law shared with her after we left. Apparently full context wasn't given, but I'm not particularly surprised about that. Mother-in-law was apologetic about her behavior and even eventually agreed with us that it was in fact a shitty gift overall, and her siding with sister-in-law so quickly was the wrong move to make. That's all aside. However, to what happened after. I haven't met my sister-in-law's family, but one of her sisters reached out to me after she visited them and shared all that happened. Apparently she had enough of sister-in-law twisting stories, which she'd been doing forever, and wanted to let me know what she'd been saying to her side of the family about us. Despite never bringing it up to me or my girlfriend, sister-in-law tells her sisters that we've both been hitting on her and making her uncomfortable since she met the family, and called us homophobic terms, amongst other things about other members of her in-law family. My girlfriend and I have been together consistently since high school. I've only met sister-in-law on family gathering occasions. I know for a fact that neither of us has ever made any romantic gestures towards her. She's also never expressed being uncomfortable at all around us. As I said before, we didn't know her well, but generally got along with her before all of this. Considering what her sister shared with me though, this is apparently common behavior for her. So, mother-in-law apologized to us. Sister-in-law is a serial attention seeker and liar. Mother-in-law doesn't intend to continue to invite sister-in-law to any family events. I know some people really wanted me to give mother-in-law the gift card, and while I didn't do that, my girlfriend took inspiration and gave it to her brother. We've yet to know if he has any intentions to actually let his wife tattoo him, but from the sound of things, not many people are, including her sister. Hope you all enjoyed your holidays. Happy late New Year. Commenter says to OP, 10 guesses how long that marriage will last. Even her own family can't stand her. Wonder what her husband thinks about his own sister hitting on his wife. He already knows what a douche he's married to. Commenter says, yes, when someone makes me uncomfortable and makes unwanted advances towards me, because of course all queer women go after any women we see, /sarcasm, I always try to get them in a situation where we're physically close and I need to touch them for a couple of hours. What a horrid human being. Is your brother-in-law really dumb, or is he also a homophobe that he's okay with her behavior and lies? And I was totally behind that last comment. I was thinking that through that update, like, you know, sister-in-law's accusing OP and her partner of hitting on her. Yet she's offered this tattoo where they're going to be in close physical contact for hours at a time. Just makes no sense. What an absolute arsehole. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from the True Off My Chest subreddit from that last by Unicorn, who says, I'm petty and won't help a friend make up with a group. I want to trigger warning for abuse because I mention it a lot. Sorry for the vent, but it's helped. I have an ex, Michael, long ass story but in my bio, and he basically would make me sick, literally, to get at me whenever he got upset with me. It was abusive, I can see and say that now. It was a horrible time, honestly, and I can't hate him enough. About a year ago, he was non-stop stalking me. Had to harass the police, turn on my phone camera to record coming and going everywhere. Had friends on alert. My head was on a fucking swivel. We put hours of footage and I found a lawyer willing to take my case, and it was with his help that I finally got a restraining order. I moved in with some girls I knew through friends who needed a roommate and sold almost everything I owned to afford the move so quickly. Now, he isn't allowed to be near me, but I still find myself feeling cagey in public. I've started going out with my roommates and friends more, and I'm just a hard person to meet up with at the bar. I only eat food made by people that I trust or from restaurants. If I don't trust you, I'm not eating it. I might pretend to nibble, but I won't actually eat it. I carry granola bars and pistachios in my bag just in case. It makes me feel isolated and sad, but I can have panic attacks trying to push too far out of my comfort zone. I feel like the wet blanket of my friend group, and I feel bad every time I decline an invite. Well, New Year's Eve happened, and we all went to a friend's for dinner. It was potluck, so I made a couple of dishes I could eat, and I knew I could eat the food my 3 roommates made because I do trust them. I didn't eat anything outside this. This isn't new to most people, but it did become a topic of conversation when Tammy started to make comments. I tried to change the subject, as did my roommates and other friends, but she flat out asked, "What's your damage anyway?" and laughed. I started to tear up and she waved it off like, "Oh, don't be sensitive, I'm just joking," or whatever. So I just broke down crying. She sort of panicked and said, "Oh shit, are you seriously crying? Fuck girl, okay." And I got so angry. So I told her that I have an ex who fed me food I was allergic to and will put stuff in my food as a form of control, that I'm in therapy, but I have deep PTSD. That it's hard for me to go out to dinners, and this was one of the first times I tried because it's potluck and I knew I could hang out for the New Year celebration. That my roommates and I were excited because I can try to do something normal after the abuse I suffered, and that now I feel like I should just leave. Tammy got really quiet and just got up to another room. My roommates managed to mostly distract me and we did have some fun. We did the countdown and I even had a few drinks and loosened up a bit. I thought that was it, but Tammy apologized via text. She then requested that she tell everyone that she apologized and that we are good. Now she can stop being iced out of the groups. I asked my roommates and they shared that after Tammy left the room, most of the people there outside her husband were cold to her and avoided her. She felt so out of place that they left before the countdown. And now a bunch of the friend groups there stopped inviting her out or have outright cancelled plans with her. Tammy was practically begging me to tell everyone that we're all good now, and I won't be doing that. She apologized and I accepted that apology, but I won't lie and say we're good. I dealt with a lot of isolation after I left my home church and went agnostic, so I know how hurtful and damaging it can be, but I can't lie and say we're good. Even if she was drunk, what she did and said deeply hurt me and made me not want to try and go out again after almost a year of therapy to get me past this. I work from home and go to the same 3 bars and almost exclusively with a trusted friend, and that's it. That's the extent of me going out. I had a vision board where I can work myself up to taking a vacation out of town by this time next year, and I feel like that party was a step forward, but she put me 3 steps back. So hell, it might be mean, but fuck her. It's not my fault or problem. People saw an issue in the way she treated me. Oh, and her excuses were that she was drunk and she's been upset since we met 6 months ago at the housewarming and I didn't eat her food. She said she tried to find out foods I like, but I didn't eat that at the next gathering. And so on and so on. And for some goddamn reason, it became her life mission to have me eat her food. Why? Because I've cooked since I was a child, and everyone loves her food. She caters for events, so, how dare I not eat her food? Call me bitter. I don't care. Maybe she'll learn next time to mind her business. I'm not too worried. I did tell my friends I feel bad she's being iced out, but not enough to lie, which is partially true. I feel for her a bit, but just a bit. I hope she's having the day she deserves. Edit. And someone asked me for the text she sent for context. Here it is below. Here's the copy and paste. I took out names. Hey, with a smiley face. I just wanted to reach out because I've been thinking about the other night and I feel things got way blown out of proportion. I was obviously drunk and joking and I didn't mean anything by it at all. I hope you're good if anything I said upset you. That really wasn't my intention. I honestly didn't know you were still so sensitive about stuff like that, and if I had known you were going to take it like that, I wouldn't have joked around like that. Lol, girl, those margaritas were strong. With a laughing emoji. Husband said I had like 6 by that point. Holy shit, right? Lol. I mean, I like to cook. I used to cook the fam growing up, and husband and I met at friend's house. It's just that I cook for everyone. It's my love language. I know you get it because you cook all the time. I try to find out what you like, and you won't even eat that. It's just that it's my contribution, and you seem to eat everyone else's food. I guess it's my bad to take that personal, but, Anyway, you're probably asleep. Sorry to bother you. I just feel really bad because people are acting super weird with me now, and I'm basically being sort of cold-shouldered by everyone, which feels unfair, but I know you get it. I've always tried to be welcoming and inclusive, so this whole situation is really hurtful for me, and this is really getting to husband, and you all are close, so I don't want this to blow up any more than it needs to, right? Can you please just tell everyone that we talked and we're good now? I don't want this to turn into a whole thing when it doesn't need to be. I feel like clearing that up would really help smooth things over, and we can laugh about it next week at friend's house. Anyway, hope you're feeling better today. Let me know. OP says on the back of this, sorry she broke up some of this by sending it in chunks, but I couldn't figure out images on here and taking out identifiable info. She sent more stuff after a while in chat with one of my roommates and me, but there's a lot of back and forth and a lot of work to transcribe right now. OP had some comments below and said, if I was asked, I won't lie. She said she was sorry and accepted, but I don't want any further contact with her. OP also says, in the past, when we were newer to each other, I just said that my criteria was too specific to explain in a short amount of time. She cornered me before, and once it stressed me out, and I just asked her to leave it alone because it's a sore topic, but she kept pressing and I cried. She got my roommate and he took me home. She never apologized for that or even inquired if I was okay, which I didn't care that much about back then. But when she asked what foods I like, I explicitly said I was uncomfortable and asked she not make me anything. But the next party she sought me out to say she made something just for me and got upset when I didn't eat it. I'm just done with her pushiness and just leave me alone. I used to think we could be friends, but now I just plan to ignore her if I can and be basically polite if I need to interact with her. OP says again, her husband is in the friend group and she sometimes comes to gatherings. I usually stick to my roommates and my trusted friends. She asked my damage. I think she keeps asking why I'm so shy, and I told her I have anxiety and she just said, me too, what's your point? Then something about everyone having damage. It's just the language she uses, I guess. Another one says, I don't like being singled out. I was literally just minding my business. She never cares if it's upsetting, and it's been months of this type of behavior, and this is the first apology, but of course it's because something affects her now. OP also says, talking about it in real life is still hard for me. I guess I just spilled it all out to her and everyone else, which mortified me because she'd been hounding me for months, and this was the last straw for me. OP says one more time, she doesn't ever actually say sorry or I apologize to anyone in my experience. Other than her husband, which I've heard her do once, when she accidentally whacked him as she was talking and gestured too big. Everyone else gets my bad at best, and from there you're expected to just move on. Oof, Tammy sounds pretty exhausting. You know, she spent quite a long time obsessing over why OP wouldn't eat her food. She's ignored OP's clear boundaries and has made OP cry before. And what was that wording? Like publicly humiliating someone by demanding to know what their damage is. I was just like, what the fuck? And let's face it, she's only apologizing now because of the consequences that's followed. The text message, there was zero actual apologies in there. It was all, I was drunk, you're too sensitive, it's my love language, and this is unfair to me. And let's face it, OP isn't being petty, which it says in the title. That's not what OP's doing at all. The friend group saw what happened and made their own decisions based on this. OP hasn't gone around to the friend group and said, oh, you need to cut out Tammy because of she did this. OP just existed. Everyone else around this situation just saw what a shitty thing Tammy did and reacted to it. But OP did update this post and says a few people asked for an update, and honestly I wasn't sure there would be one because this honestly feels so boring, but here we are. I chose to stick with my plan and have no regrets. I did tell her I accepted her apology, but I wasn't going to say we're good because we're not. She's not a safe person for me, and more, her actions have caused me to see her as unsafe. Whatever. All that means is I don't want to hang out with her. I will be cordial when I see her, but we're not friends. No biggie, not a requirement, low stakes, right? Well, I was overwhelmed by text and being asked what happened, so I chose to be neutral and just send the screenshot of a text to me. You know, her apology. That way people could make their own choices, and I feel I was being transparent and not trying to steer the opinions of anyone. This past Monday there was a group gathering. I went because it was the surprise portion of a birthday celebration for a friend, and I didn't want to miss that. I didn't outright promise to be there, but I know it meant a lot to my friend if I could make it. It was at a restaurant, which was the last minute change that wiped out most of my excuses and made me feel more okay about going. I figured I could stay for a bit, give my gift and leave if and when needed early. I met up with my roomies ahead of time and we spent time together before everyone else arrived, which was special in and of itself. Tammy was there. She and Wyatt were among the first to arrive. She brought cookies. Most people politely took one. My roommates all declined, which immediately made the vibe weird. I mean, you could visibly see Tammy get upset. When she got to me, she looked at me, said in a snippy tone, "Of course not," and moved on to the next table without waiting for a response. That started up some tension with my roommates, who were clearly annoyed on my behalf, but I asked them to please calm down and not make a scene. This isn't the time or place, and I really don't care enough for all the drama. They did keep calm-ish, but they also stuck close to me the entire party, which I appreciated more than I can say. I managed to stay the majority of the party and got to talk to new and old friends. It was one of the most normal nights I've had in a very long time. When the birthday boy Jake opened my gift, part of it included food, a dish he's loved for years and had specifically asked me to make for his birthday. He was genuinely excited and thanked me a bunch, which was sweet, but it was also a moment where Tammy suddenly made this sound. It was almost a gasp sort of sound, where we looked at her and she looked like she was about to cry and rushed to the bathroom. Her husband Wyatt followed her, and they left pretty quickly after that. Later that night in the group chat, Tammy apologized again, but this time it was more about how hard it is for her to feel unappreciated for her cooking and baking because it's her love language and she's not near her family. She talked about how cooking is how she shows love, how she learned from a Omi or Omai, which I believe is like granny in German, granny or nan in German, and grew up with German cuisine and diverse recipes, and how painful it is when that's not received the way she intends. She does this to share joy and connect with people, and since Wyatt is the friend and she's just his plus one, it's very important to her to connect with all of us, and this makes her feel shitty. There was more, but I muted the chat and didn't look at it again until today after work. When I checked about 30 minutes ago, I saw that while she never mentioned me by name, she framed the situation as being shamed for loving people through food and holding our opinions of her food in high regard. A few people responded that it wasn't about her cooking, and someone did bring up that what she said to me at the New Year's Eve party. She replied that she already apologized, and then someone else posted a screenshot of her text and explained why it wasn't really an apology. At that point, she tagged me directly and said something like, "Okay then, sorry OP, I'm sorry," and immediately followed it with how she feels like she's walking on eggshells and needs space, so she won't be accompanying Wyatt to events for a while unless it's a birthday. The next birthday coming up is one of my roommates. My roommate replied snarkily, "That's okay, you don't have to come for that," with a smiley face. And a few people laugh reacted to it. I noticed Tammy's icon dropped down, so she definitely read it. She just hasn't responded. At this point, I'm honestly exhausted. I didn't want a public reckoning or to turn a group chat into a courtroom. Just wanted to exist in a shared space without my boundaries being treated like a suggestion rather than respected space. I'm still keeping my distance and leaning on the people who make me feel safe, like my roomies and Jake. I had my therapy appointment and I feel good letting this go and just moving past it. I'm less angry and more indifferent. I don't know where this all lands, but I'm trying very hard not to take responsibility for emotions that aren't mine to manage. I was just rubbing my forehead through that thinking, "Oh, Tammy, you just keep digging and digging, don't you?" All you had to do was give a genuine apology, leave it at that, and let OP then decide where to go from there. Not keep trying to force it, not keep trying to excuse. I mean, it's not bloody difficult, is it? Please. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story isn't one with an update as yet. It's from the Am I the Arsehole Weddings subreddit. A different one we haven't covered before. It was cross-posted across to our own subreddit r/mark narrations from the author space OK1290, who asks, "Am I the arsehole for giving my brother and sister-in-law a wedding blanket instead of buying from their registry? Hi guys, I really need some insight on this. I've asked a few friends and one of them recommended I reach out to Reddit for advice. Sorry in advance if this post is all over the place. I'm not much of a writer and I don't use Reddit. I don't think it matters, but I'm 34 female and my brother is 32 male and sister-in-law is 29. So, about 3 years ago, my brother proposed to his then girlfriend, now wife. I call her M and my brother L. They had a long engagement because L and M were finishing up grad school and had to get established in their respective fields. They'd been dating for 5 years up to that point. I'm very close to my brother and anytime we hang out, M is usually there with us. I don't mind, except she always tries to insert herself in everything. I'm not an easily angry person, but M knows how to test my patience. M was nice for the most part, but she can be very exhausting, and she likes things going her way. For instance, my birthday last year. I wanted to go to Red Lobster and M told me, "You eat there every year. Why not choose something different for once?" I was very annoyed, but I didn't feed into it. We went to Red Lobster and she pouted and later begged my brother to take her to Roadhouse. Another time we had a funeral to go to for our great aunt, and despite it being a family event for just us, M wanted to go. Not to support anyone, but so she could see a real dead body. The fuck? I guess she's never seen an open casket before. She didn't cause a lot of trouble while there, but I overheard her making comments about my aunt's funeral clothes. As you can imagine, it was very inappropriate and my brother had to take her home early. Well, to get to the meat of it all, I'm a crocheter. I bought a pattern off of Etsy a few years ago and started making these beautiful wedding blankets. They're white with popcorn stitches that create a row of intertwined wedding rings at the top and bottom of the blanket and hearts on either side. In the center it reads, "Here's to love, laughter, and happily ever after." I normally add the couple's wedding colors to the blankets with a border, their names and wedding date to make it more personal. It takes a lot of time. I think about 4 to 5 months to put it all together. I give these blankets to everyone in my family who is or will be getting married. Parents, grandparents, cousins, and close friends. It's a family tradition at this point. When L and M were planning their wedding, I asked L if it was okay if I made him and M a wedding blanket. He was happy about it and said yes, he and M would love one. I asked him about the colors and he told me green, silver, and turquoise. So I got to work on the wedding blanket. I added their names in silver, their wedding date in green, and used a seashell border in yarn color that was close to turquoise as I could find. Since their wedding was going to be on the beach, I added crochet seashells and a starfish to the blanket. During the bridal shower, I gave them their gift, and both seemed really happy. They loved the design, the colors, all of it. About a month after the wedding, I received a call from M. I said, "Hi M, how are you?" She said, "Doing great. Hey, listen, I don't want to be rude, but I've noticed you didn't donate or purchase a gift from us from the registry. Are you planning on doing that sometime soon?" I was confused and I said, "I beg your pardon?" She said, "You didn't donate or buy us a gift off the registry. I'm wondering when you'll get around to doing that." I'm still confused and mildly annoyed. I said, "I'm terribly sorry. I think there might have been a misunderstanding. The wedding blanket I made you guys is my gift. I didn't buy or donate anything because I already gave you guys your wedding gift at the bridal shower." She said, "Seriously? You give everyone a blanket. That's not a real gift. Look, I appreciate it. It's pretty, but Elle and I need some stuff that's in the registry. Most of it isn't cheap and we're kind of low on money." I said, "Okay, but I made that specifically for you guys, and if I'm being honest, that blanket isn't cheap either." She said, "It's yarn. Yarn's cheap." I was getting flustered, so I made an excuse to leave and hang up. I've not spoken to her since, and I haven't mentioned it to my brother yet because I don't want to stir up drama over a gift. If I'm at fault here, I'll accept it and buy something to keep the peace. It isn't the money that's the issue in my opinion. I put a lot of thought and hard work into that blanket, and it hurts that M implied it's a cheap gift. Please be honest. Am I the arsehole? Ugh, dearie me, of course, you're absolutely 100% not the arsehole, OP. Imagine phoning people up and asking why they haven't bought stuff from your registry. It just makes me feel sick thinking about it. OP, what you did and what you do for people is absolutely wonderful. You give them something meaningful, something that you've put hours and hours of skilled labor into, money into as well with the yarn. It's not cheap, but you give them something that's priceless. It's irreplaceable. And let's face it, you're not the one who's creating drama here, and I would be asking your brother as, are you happy with the gift? just to see what he says. He's likely to ask why, and then you can say, well, your wife isn't. And I find it wild. It was a month after the wedding that she decided to do this. So she's been thinking about it. She's looking through this. I wonder if she's approached anyone else at the same time as well. And she said that most of it isn't cheap and we're kind of low on money. I mean, I'm shriveling up here. Just shriveling from the cringe. But Polish Strawberry says, not the arsehole. Yes, bridal shower gifts and wedding gifts are traditionally two different things, but plenty of people do one gift, especially if that one gift is expensive. No matter how you slice it, this wedding blanket is an expensive gift. First of all, yarn is not cheap. Second of all, if you bought this same handmade custom blanket off of Etsy, that'd easily be in the multi-hundreds of dollars, not to mention the hours of effort you put into it. Your sister-in-law literally called you up to press you into giving them money. That's it. My condolences on the new addition to the family. Ooh. Little spice at the end of the comment, I like it. Dramatic says, you're not the arsehole. Your sister-in-law is a greedy bee, and your brother needs to be aware of the situation. I do both crocheting and quilting, and neither of these are cheap hobbies. When my brother and sister-in-law had my nephew, I crocheted a crib-sized baby blanket for the baby shower and my nephew's first birthday. I made him a full-size mattress quilt. Between the two blankets, I spent over $1,000 between time and materials. Nap Time Good says, not the arsehole. I think she's young, self-centered, and has no idea of how much money it costs and time to make a handmade blanket like that. Price out the yarn and how much skeins it took. Estimate how many hours it took. Find a similar crochet blanket online or a few if possible and send it to her. By us, you would bring 2 different presents, one for each event. The answer you handmade was the big present, so if you want to show that you made an effort, buy something small for the bridal shower and send it to her. Then never make another thing for her again. She's not worthy of all that money and effort on your part. But I disagree with sending her anything. I think, with that kind of attitude, I just don't think it deserves it. If someone turned up and didn't buy anything from the registry to my hypothetical wedding, I wouldn't be bothered. I just want the people that I love there at the wedding, not as something where they have to buy something from the registry as kind of like a transaction. I just find that wild thinking in itself. I will mention on the end of this, though, there was a couple of everyone sucks here comments saying, she's definitely the arsehole for calling you up, but you should have gotten them a separate gift. So now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Maybe you got a different opinion on the matter. Would always love to hear it. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.